Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this month's edition of Métis Coffee Talk. My name is Keith Henry. I am the president of the BC Métis Federation, coming to you live for this Thursday, July 24th. Sorry, we're about 20 minutes late for the show. We had some major technical glitches to get started. We've been trying to figure it out for the last 15 minutes, so I want to thank Craig on the back end here for helping me get that all sorted out. So, good evening to all of you. Of course, I am on the road right now, so I'm actually joining you from I'm out in another part of Canada. I'm in Montreal. It's quite late here tonight, but certainly happy to be joining you for this evening's event here. It's summertime. We don't typically do Métis Coffee Talk in the summertime, but or we usually take July off over the past few years. But we just felt it was important to share just information. Some of the news and stories. And there's been a lot of stuff happening politically as well as some cultural activities that we think are, just want to just continue to share that information with members of the BC Métis Federation, our partner communities. There's some events coming up, and just want to make sure that everyone here has a chance to know what's happening with the BC Métis community, the members we represent in British Columbia, of course. So it's always great to be with you. I do want to start the show, though, on a bit of an unfortunate note. Many of you that have been working in the Métis community in British Columbia, and of course, not only in British Columbia, but other parts of the country, have come to know Mr. Dale Haggerty. Dale Haggerty has been around for many, many years in the Métis community. He passed away early in July, so I just want to start by passing along our condolences to his wife, Dale. His wife's name is also Dale, a very lovely couple who I've come to know over the last number of years. Dale worked in Métis Family Services for years in Surrey. He was involved in the Métis community with the Métis Museum. He was a curator of a lot of the information and sort of the presentation. Had that up in I guess out in North Fraser a number of years actually. And so Dale's been well known in the Métis community for a long time. I became we were distantly related through our genealogy, and Dale was always quick to sort of point that out. And it's funny because Dale and I, we weren't always at the same opinion or the same politics, but I always respected Dale, and I want to just say it's a big loss in the Métis community. The last part of his life, he's been up near Clearwater, which is a location of one of our partner communities. And I want to say thank you to their president, Cindy Wilgosh, their board, and I know a lot of their members that have been really helping the family in this difficult time. And I just want to say, on behalf of our board from the BC Métis Federation and all our members and other partner communities, our sincere condolences. We do know the family will be organizing sort of a more of a, I guess, a funeral service or a celebration of life in August. And I know that we'll do all we can to just try and support Dale and the family as best we can. So to the family and to the friends of Dale, we just want to say thank you for the work you've been a part of Dale your entire life. And we want to wish everyone our most sincere condolences. So not an ideal way, but I mean I'll just end with this. I'd seen Dale this last year up in Clearwater a few times at some events. The last time was last September 30th in conjunction with the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And I knew Dale was quite honest with me about his health challenges, and I'd talked to him on the phone periodically between then and obviously since his passing. And I just know that Dale was very committed to the cause, and I'm thankful I got a chance to see him and get to know him a little better in the last chapter of his life. And I just thank him for the work he tried to do. So, Dale, thank you for everything you did with our community. There's some other important news and stories. We've shared this on online social media before, but we found it interesting, and we've posted this on our information on our Facebook page with the BC Métis Federation. There was a significant court ruling, and I've touched on this briefly in the show in Métis Coffee Talk prior. But there was a significant court ruling that excluded Métis communities. It was Lac St. Anne Métis Community Association. They broke away from the Métis Nation Alberta, and in this a few months ago, in the Alberta court system, the Court of Appeal, they were left out of a equity deal with the Trans Mountain expansion, and Canada made that decision because they said, well, they weren't a Section 35 community, they were excluded, et cetera, et cetera. And basically the court said to the government of Canada that, you're applying this inconsistently. It's not appropriate. A community, if it chooses to want to represent itself, can. So there's a lot more to the case, but the crux of this is we just want to keep raising this, is that that's the position we've taken in British Columbia at the BC Métis Federation, with our partner communities, with our members. We aren't Métis just because someone we all know the other organization, the Métis Nation British Columbia, says we're Métis or not. We know we have our own system. We know we can stand on our own 2 feet, and we continue to see these cases being won. And I encourage people to, as you see some of this unfolding, really these are significant legal decisions. So, I just wanted to just remind people of that. And there's more information if you want to Google it or search it, or you look back on some of our past Facebook posts. Certainly, we've got information about that. We did respond earlier this month, and we did touch on this a bit in some of our social media and website. CBC did a story of our legal challenge, and they really positioned our current legal challenge against Canada, that somehow it was, they positioned it about rights and title and things, and they made other sort of misleading statements in the public in the CBC coverage. I let the reporter know that it was totally inappropriate. We are advancing a case that just want to make sure that our members have every right to have representation, access to programs. It's really about the access to programs and services and should not be denied that. We've got too many members facing that. And so we continue to advance that case, as we've reported here in previous Métis Coffee Talk shows, over the past months. There'll be some pretty significant progress in the fall, but we just want to let people know that we've put a news release out on our website. I won't go into it here all now, but I encourage you, if you haven't been to our website, go to bcmétis.com and look in the news section and some of the archive stories. There's a lot more insight into why we've said this particular thing, and we just hope that in the future the media digs a little differently and actually gets to the heart of what this story is about. And this story is about our position in the case is about freedom of association. I myself know my Métis history, very strong Métis ancestry, strong Métis genealogy, always identified as being Métis. It's not up to the government of Canada to tell me I can only get programs and services if I go join another club, because that's what really the other Métis organization is as well. It's nothing more than a nonprofit society. So we feel that that's our freedom of association being taken away when you force people to have to join one over the other, all because whatever it is they choose. So I think that we will continue to discuss this, and it goes back to the prior case of the Lac St. Anne, and it really speaks to that quite strongly. Just a reminder, speaking of which, in the North Thompson, of course, Métis community, the Aboriginal Cultural Center Society, they got their July newsletter out. And of course, I just want to say thank you to, of course, Cindy and everyone there and the work they're doing to continue to pass information, help members connect with their culture, connect with their family and community of course, the Clearwater sort of region of the province. I just wanted to stop there for a second because I think some of the other things I wanted to touch on. There's a lot of things going on in the Métis community, of course, and we know that. But there's also some good things in other parts of the Métis community and the Métis Nation, if you will, across the country. But there's also some really big challenges, and my brother, as many of you know, I've talked about this before. He made a decision to run as the Saskatchewan Métis Nation Saskatchewan president. He hadn't really thrown his name in the ring before, but he did make a conscious choice. And their election's done, but it's been the MNS election finished a few months ago, and we all know Kevin. He did quite well. He finished roughly third. He finished third out of fifth. He got about 860 votes, and Glenn, the incumbent president, he did well. He had 2,000 votes, and you can't take that away from a person. But now I'm starting to wonder what really happened in that election, because ever since that election's happened, there's been they've continued to remove people. The president is continuing to create all sorts of challenges, and I really there's an individual putting a lot of information. Her name is Jennifer L. And she's making it in a way that's really, I think, digestible for people to understand about, like, what is she trying to say on the challenges here of what's happening with the Métis Nation Saskatchewan. And I think it's really good dialogue. I'm just gonna I'm gonna share with you the kind of stuff she's talking about. And there's videos going out that I simply do not understand. And maybe you've seen this, but if you have, please bear with me, because it goes to the heart of, like, this is why, as Métis people, we have to have the right governments represent our interests and our needs. And I'm just going to start with that first video clip to help you understand what I'm getting at, or maybe help provide education here in British Columbia at the grassroots level.
Now we're opening an office in Ottawa. We have a place already. Hopefully in the new year, it'll be open. My wife is going to lead with our economic development arm to be able to support our First Nations craft people. And the majority of the money that she spends are on First Nation. I have 3 sets of fur gloves. My wife spends $100,000 a year on buying crafts from Métis and First Nations and Métis.
If you're like me, you're probably wondering what you just heard. Keep in mind that this is the president of an Indigenous government in Canada. The Métis Nation of Saskatchewan is federally recognized. And since they are federally recognized, they are funded heavily. According to their last annual report, they are funded in the tune of over $100 million. The majority of their funding to operate comes from the Fed. So a couple things. Since this is the president, there is nobody above this person. This person is quite literally tasked with leading this government. And what we just heard was this president on record saying that his wife allegedly spends $100,000 a year on First Nations crafts. And you may be as confused as I am, because they're a Métis government that are apparently spending a ton of money on First Nations crafts, which is great. I love the support for Indigenous entrepreneurs, but at what cost does that come to the citizens of the nation? Keep in mind that the federal government does support Indigenous governments. They're federally recognized, Section 35 of the Constitution. The government has some obligation to ensure the nation-to-nation relationship with Indigenous people. But that does not mean that it absolves us of all responsibility on how we use those resources and what those resources are actually for. Because not only are those funds to provide resources to citizens, which I think a lot of people think is the only thing that a government is for, but they're not just a servicing body, they are also there to build capacity within their own government as well. The idea of self-government is to become self-sufficient and to restore autonomy over us and our systems and the ability to live underneath those systems as Indigenous people. So it is incredibly critical that the resources that are received from the federal government are used to the fullest of their potential to build the capacity, make the proper investments, and to ensure that we are building long-term sustainability through those systems for our people. This is why right now it is so incredibly important for citizens to be asking how much money is coming to us and where is it all being used? Salaries, contracts, investments, buildings, whatever it is you're purchasing. But more so, questions are going to be asked when a president says out loud that his wife is spending $100,000 a year on First Nations craft. And the number one question I have after listening to this is, where did that $100,000 come from and what budget?
So, I mean, I just want to unpack that a little bit. I mean, so I'm trying to understand. My family's from Saskatchewan, and it's, just to the point that Jennifer makes on here as well. I mean, it's no doubt about that this is a very difficult, I don't understand how that helps the Métis community if the president himself is more focused on First Nations, supporting First Nations artists. We have many Métis artists in Saskatchewan. I don't know that he's saying just that, but what I'm confused about is his wife getting the $100,000 from the Métis Nation Saskatchewan? Like, I see this, and I know this happens in many Métis governments across, and it happens in governments. We know there's cronyism, we know there's all these things, but it's the challenge I have is when you hear this in combination with all the other things that's happening, and when we go back to the story that it's been building. So since the election a few months ago, then they suspended 2 Métis women who were duly elected, and I'll come back to this. There's 3 things I wanted to show you. There's this piece on the arts and craft, and I don't know if this president, Mr. McCallum, understands if he's Métis or is he non-status Indian. Is he actually Métis? Because I don't understand how there's nothing wrong with supporting First Nations arts and crafts, but how about if it's Métis money, spending it on our Métis artists and our Métis community, first of all. So I don't, maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but I'm not the only one asking it. It's really bubbling up on the grassroots level. But let me show you another example. And this is the way he's speaking in front of the community there. And I find this very troubling because I know it's not just happening there. It's happening in other places, of course, as well. And I have to ask myself, how does this come to be? And so I'll just quickly show you this, and then I'll just come back with some commentary as well on this.
Depends on First Nation. I have 3 sets of fur gloves. My wife spends $100,000 a year on buying crafts. Right now, we're opening an office in Ottawa. We have a place already. Hopefully in the new year, it'll be open. My wife is going to lead with our economic development arm to be able to our First Nations craft
So
people.
that's,
And the
sorry,
majority
I just wanted to play that intro clip of it. Oh,
Métis
sorry.
and First. Right now, we're opening an office in Ottawa Nation.
I've got this
First
running in the
Nations and
background. Let me
Métis.
just hit the.
She does.
I just find that, like, so his wife, they opened up an office in Ottawa and his wife's running it and she's getting 100,000. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But the story is just becoming very difficult in Saskatchewan because what we're seeing now is what's happening with this. There's these women that were disenfranchised from their elected position, and it's really gaining a significant amount of challenges. So this is on that particular piece, just a little bit what's happening. It's really falling apart. Now, this will be my last piece on this, and then we'll switch to some music for a little bit. But I just think it's interesting to watch this unfold.
Elected Métis Nation of Saskatchewan regional reps were not actually allowed to participate in the swearing-in ceremony. And then the Métis Nation released a statement basically saying, yes, they have been suspended from the table because there was an investigation due to harassment, yada, yada. And then obviously that made citizens ask even more questions. Who was harassed? How were they harassed? What are the components of harassment? And who did this investigation? Especially when it comes to elected officials that have been removed from the table, because their duty as elected officials is to ask those hard questions and to represent their citizens. So when you start removing people in those type of positions, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. But regardless, where are we at today? The citizen engagement has ramped up significantly, from town halls, people posting on Facebook, peaceful protests / demonstration outside of the gates of Batoche. And it is very, very obvious that this is now putting pressure on some of the people within that government because they are coming out of the woodworks. Like, we're talking about alleged family members of some of the elected officials going into Facebook comments saying these women deserved it, which, by the way, these are women that were reelected by their citizens. So you're basically trampling on their citizens as well. But anyway, to the president making multiple comments regarding this, but not actually acknowledging the citizens themselves.
One, don't get discouraged when you saw people standing up like what just happened just a while ago. Don't get discouraged. Isolate them.
And by the way, that was the president of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan allegedly saying to isolate them when it comes to the women that did show up to the swearing-in ceremony but were not allowed in. But wait, it gets even better.
Is it still morning? Good morning. We started standing out there. We stood there for quite a while. It doesn't want to work with me. Like the ones that are demonstrating out there.
And yes, that was the president cracking jokes about the people outside the gates. That included youth, elders, and other Métis citizens that are just peacefully demonstrating, asking for transparency and accountability within their own government. These were some of the signs. There were quite a few citizens out there. In case you missed it, another Métis citizen did post a TikTok video talking about how she was at the Batoche graveyard yesterday, where her ancestors are buried, where the president did use that opportunity, allegedly, to create a political platform for himself to talk even more about how disappointed he is with these protesters. And allegedly how Métis people don't protest, which is historically incorrect. But anyway, that is just a small update on what is going on. And I guess I have to finish this off with saying, I'm not paid to talk about this, or paid by anybody. That's the update. There's way more. Any questions? As always, let me know anything below. Follow me. I'll keep you updated.
So I do appreciate I hope people understand how this has really grown. Like, they had just had their elections, I said, a few months ago. I find it curious as I watch this unfold because it kind of speaks to the governance issues I've seen in British Columbia. Not so much on the characterization of some of the the challenges and but I remember MNBC where people suspended 3 directors who were duly elected in a very and 3 really honorable people, 2 of which have passed away, 1 of which is still alive, and it's like bad governance after bad governance, which is why another reason why, for those of you who don't know, why the Federation started years ago. It's these things that keep happening, and you would think at some point in our evolution of Métis governance in the various provinces we would get past this. But just when you think it's going to move forward, it doesn't. And I was really offended when I also heard that, because I had family and friends there as well. Batoche, obviously, I didn't make it there this year. I don't like going back there, to be very candid with people, even though I know it's such an important event. And it's funny because I feel like people don't want our actual original people there. Like Mr. McCollum, who's the president of the MNS, I just have no respect for him going to a graveyard where he has zero connection of his family. His genealogy, his family's from northern Saskatchewan, has no connection to that event, that history. They never fought. Our families were there, and they're using that as a political platform. I find that so offensive. And it's so deeply important to so many of us that maybe I live in British Columbia now, but as many of you have followed us for years, our family, my family, is directly connected to the historic events and has a stain of, I know in one particular leadership campaign, he made fun, he mocked, the president of the MNS mocked my brother, and I don't mean to bring this into this, but he mocked him in a way that said, why do you have to worry about exoneration? No one cares about exoneration. Think deeply about how they like to use Batoche to have a grandstand to talk to thousands of people, because Batoche has become such a massive event. But it's like all the original, like a number of us original people are just forgotten about. And it's become like a circus. And that's why I don't want to discredit Batoche. I still think it's really important, back to Batoche days. But I don't go, and I haven't gone for a lot of years, because I feel this has been building for a very long time. Yet, I know it's important for culture. So I don't want to, it's such a difficult thing for me to watch unfold. So, I to those of you watching tonight, when I see what's happening in Saskatchewan and I see this, it's hard for me not to, have some pretty strong narrative about it, because the truth is, it's not right. And I'm really disappointed in the way that I think that we see people using history and so forth. But having said that, let's share a few things that happened in back to Batoche days. There was some good culture. Of course, there was some great things happening, and I don't have my backup band with Renee and whatnot tonight. So why don't we show some of the videos and some of the good times that people had in Batoche. Let's not let politics, I suppose, get in the way of just honoring and sharing some good old-fashioned fun from Batoche. So I'm just going to share a song or two, and then I'll come back with you some more stories and updates. So that is just some of the music and dance that was happening. That was just at Back to Batoche Days here that happened, just this basically about a week and a half ago now. And I think it's pretty impressive to see all sorry about the music going in the background here. But it's really nice to see that, that there's obviously a ton of people out there and they're having a ton of fun. It's become such a major event. And, I've been there many times over the years. And I just think it's, in many ways, it's wonderful to have it. In other ways, I say, well, I'm not sure, but let's share another one. This was another short video clip I'll show. It's a championship jig, first place for a teen girl in Back to Batoche Days, and just part of our culture, part of our historic for many of our families. And let's just enjoy this fiddling or this jigging, pardon me.
I'm 17 years old.
And how long have you been jigging?
Ever since I was in the womb.
Whoa! Ever since you was in the womb. I like that. I like that. So who inspired you when you were in the womb to jig?
Well, my mom and my dad have been coming to Métis for a long, long time. And they inspired me to jig. My beautiful mom, Felice Gladu, my dad, Trevor Gladu. Here we are. It's actually their 23rd wedding anniversary today.
Congratulations, Mom and Dad. Oh, yeah, and a kiss. And a kiss. Right on, right on. Okay, Willow, what other questions do I have for you? Are you ready to jig?
Indeed.
Okay, from Beaumont, Alberta, Batoche, give it up for Willow Gladu!
So, that's a kind of, obviously when we get into culture and we share the culture, it's great to see that well, obviously the young lady Willow, 17 years old from Alberta, out in Batoche, a champion a jigger, celebrating obviously and doing quite well. So, when this is really when we look at what our members and our Métis community and our family want, it's a culture that we all know needs to continue to tie us together. And so, I know we talked about some difficult things, of course, with the Métis Nation Saskatchewan president, which is really what is troubling to me. But at the end of the day, I just hope the citizens of Saskatchewan will continue to think about ways that they can, maybe address that in other ways. Like I just don't know how they'll solve that. I don't understand what he's particularly thinking. But there's not much I guess we can do about it other than just continue to hope that people, that these leaders learn to have a little more humility and learn to understand getting community engagement, I guess, more than anything. So, I don't mean to go on and on about that, but it's certainly, it's just troubling to me. I find that deeply, deeply, deeply disappointing. And, there's not much more we can really say about it, I suppose. I want to let people know, though, out here in the Lower Mainland, there are some things happening this weekend. There is a gathering. I'm just bringing it up on the screen for everyone. If you're looking to connect with the community here in Surrey, I just want to let people know there's a community gathering here on this. It's with the Nova Métis Heritage Association, one of our partner communities. I'll just bring it up on the screen because I don't have it on my on the website yet. But it's, pardon me, I had it on there. But it is the summer picnic. It's an annual event they do with their president Harlan and Coles and the board, Carrie Marion and others. It's a campfire gathering. It's at the Hawthorne Rotary Park. It starts at 12 noon this Sunday, July 27th. So to the family, make sure they got burgers, hot dogs, and obviously probably coffee, pop, and water. It's only BYOC, which means please bring your own chair. So it's the food's provided by the Métis community, and they're certainly calling out all Nova Métis members to head out and have some fun at the picnic. So try not to miss that event. I know, unfortunately, I cannot make it. I'm sorry to my friends at Nova. If things change for me, I definitely will try and make it out. But I'm on the road, and I just can't make time for that at this time. There's some other upcoming events, though. Just want to let people know about in the Métis community, and I'll just pull it up on the screen for us. If again, to our friends up in Fort St. John, the Peace Region Métis Community Association, they've got they got a Party Spoons workshop Tuesday, August 12th. And if you go to our events section on the BC Métis Federation website, you'll see that it gives it the information happening from 1 till 4 on Tuesday, August 12th. And there's also coming up with the Peace Region, they've got a rain sticks workshop on Tuesday, August 19th from 1 till 4 p.m. In Fort St. John. So again, at the Peace Region, that'll be 1 to 4. Everyone knows we've got our job board, and these are things that just continue and continue on and whatnot. And just make sure you go to bcmétis.work if you want to see some of those opportunities. So lots of things going on in a number of our partner communities, as I guess the easiest way to say it. But I love sharing culture, and I think that we should share a little bit more about some of the events that are happening at Back to Batoche. I just love to see when the community does come together, even though, as you hear in my voice, sometimes I just don't understand some of the issues I've got. But some of the things, I think that it brings people back together. So there's a Métis Spirit Band playing on Saturday night. Anyways, I just share a little bit about some of their music. That was Jason posted by Jason Lapine during Back to Batoche days here this year. So I thought I would show a little bit about that. So just wanted to share some more music for everyone tonight. Batoche has become such of an event from it's several days, as we know, is just about, basically about 4 or 5 days of really continuous Métis culture, jigging, fiddling, music, bands, dance, lots of food, games, activities. But I hope what's not lost in that, one thing, I do think those are great things. I think that's wonderful. We want people to have fun. But I continue to always remind us when I see some of the politics play, there was a number of people protesting because of the M&S decision by the president and the Provincial Métis Council in Saskatchewan to suspend 2 people who were about an issue prior to the election. They let them run, and as we showed earlier in the show, and then they suspended 2 women, one from the Prince Albert region, one from around the Regina region, for those of you that don't know the numbers there. And yeah, it was something that happened pre-election, but the citizens knew that in those regions, and they still elected those people. So I don't really understand the process, and I think that's what I showed you through the social media information I shared from that individual from Saskatchewan. So, I hope that they can sort that out, but it's going to continue, in my opinion, to be very, very, very challenging for the members of the citizens of Saskatchewan. I know because I hear to my family and things that are going on all the time. So yeah, I think what I want to just share a little bit about too. We know that we know that there's other things coming up. The Skeena Region Métis, River Métis Community Association, they're getting ready to host their next event. Of course, they've got their cultural festival coming up. Of course, the Métis, the Skeena River Music Festival in mid-August, of course. So I think that's. I just want to let people know that I hope you're making plans to think about coming to Terrace, British Columbia, of course. So here I am looking for the poster I thought I had handy in my system, but here we go. Sorry, I was sort of fumbling my way through that till I could show everyone. But I know that there's again at the Thornhill Community Center on August 16th, 17th. So I showed you early in the show this weekend coming up. There's a family picnic for those of you in Surrey. Shared the details, and we'll make sure we get that on our website hopefully by tomorrow, just for another event on there. And then the Skeena Valley Community Music Festival, August 16th and 17th at the Thornhill Community Center up in Terrace, British Columbia. This, we're at the Federation. We're so thankful to be a partner and support of this event. They've got Spring Fever, Country Mavericks, Rebel Heart, a band Scramble, and open mic. Spring Fever is usually here with us, but our fearless musician Renee Therian just wasn't available this month. He's out in the Nass Valley doing work. But anyways, no, I just want to invite, if you haven't made plans and you want to come out to a community event and just enjoy some Métis culture, I hope you'll be there. I will be there with our board. We're looking forward to seeing a lot of people at the Skeena Valley Country Music Festival coming up in August. So make sure you put that into your calendars. There's a few other things I'll just share with you. It'll be a bit of an abbreviated show tonight because obviously there is moving parts, of course, around a number of things. But it just seems like right now it's a bit of a summertime always feels like everyone's focused on their own family and whatnot. But I just feel for me, I want to come back to before we sort of sign off the show tonight, just to continue to think about the people we've lost over the years, and just as we sort of wind the show down, I just when it comes to Dale Haggerty, I talked about it at the start of the show, and I know some of his family's online, and I just want to say thank you for the comments you've been making. I don't always acknowledge them, but I want to say thank you for acknowledging our effort. We know that it's a tough situation when you lose such an important family member. Dale was a friend to many people in the Métis community, and I know that his wife Dale is going to, of course, be, it's not easy, right? We all know that it's not easy, and I just hope Dale, Mrs. Dale, that you have our heartfelt condolences, and we want to continue to try our best to just honor Dale in the best way we can. And I know Dale was such a proud man for the work he was trying to help with the Métis community itself at large, right? And so, this is a Dale and his wife Dale, and so I know they're online tonight, and I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that. And I just wanted to end the show saying, life is a journey, right? And I know we all fight sometimes over politics. I get amped up over stuff. You get amped up over stuff. Some of you online don't always agree with the Federation. Some like the MNBC. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, but in the end, when we're gone, it doesn't mean anything. To me, what matters is what we leave behind. And in Dale's case, what I once want to say that he left behind a legacy of trying to build Métis culture through the Métis Museum, the Michif Historical and Cultural Preservation Society, I remember being at Klahowya Village. I could always depend on him and Derek. They always, they'd drive all night. They'd set up the Red River cart just to help people understand just a little bit more about the Métis community. And I just really want to acknowledge and thank her for that. My life takes me so many different places, and it feels like it's such a fast pace that I don't often get time to acknowledge some of these people. We've lost so many amazing people in our movement. And I just wanted to say to everyone tonight, think about, in the end, whether we fought or disagreed, disliked each other, we're still connected as Métis people. And just because we sit on different political sides of things doesn't mean we should hate each other. And I just want to say, Dale, thank you for Miss Dale. Thank you for just always being supportive of Dale and just supportive of the Federation. I know it's not easy when you lose your loved one. So again, I know she's online tonight. I just wanted to say thank you very much. Now, in saying that, I also want to acknowledge another individual that's online tonight. Some of you are commenting, and I just want to say hi to Don Woodcock. Don Woodcock is another a member of ours. He's an associate member, but he's in Washington. He's only associate because he's not in the geography of Canada and so forth. But Don, I know that you're struggling with some challenges and you're facing some really serious health challenges. Most people here will know that, but I won't get into that. I know you gifted blankets to us, and we're doing things, and we're, for my sons, and like you asked me, and there's books you're donating to the Federation that we're sorting our way through, and all these things are coming together. And Dawn, we just want you to know we care about you, and we hope you're doing as well as you can in the midst of a very difficult life challenge for you. And we know that your time is short left on this planet and Earth, and just want to say thank you for the things you've done in this world to help educate and share Métis culture and our connection, that even though there was a US-Canada border, our ancestors, our kinship networks were the same. And we didn't have a border there 200 plus years ago. So, just again, I just want to say hi to Dawn. There's so many other people following here online tonight. I just wanted to say thank you for being always a supporter. We really appreciate you joining us as members. We appreciate you sharing the show. We appreciate you sharing information. And just to everyone, I hope I will see some of you out at the Skeena event up in Terrace in mid-August. And as we think about what's happening in Saskatchewan, or we think about the courts and what we've had to do just to be freedom of association, I can only say to all of us, it's up to us to make this a better place for all of us. There's space for all of us. If people want to be with MNBC, it's fine. If people want to be with us, that's fine. But in the end, we shouldn't hate each other, because when people leave, it's definitive, and I thought a lot about that when Dale departed this planet. And I know Dawn around is another individual, and brings me back to people that were with the Federation at the beginning. So many have left us, Harold Morin, Jerry from Kootenay. I mean, so many people that had just all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. And there's not many of these people that weren't quite elders, but now they're elders and they're moving on. So to all of us, I wish you a very peaceful rest of your July. We all need to work together to see what's the best interest of our Métis community. And I just want to say thank you for watching this show of Métis Coffee Talk. Sorry, I'm a little somber. I just think a lot about Dale and the challenges we had at different times over politics. And yet at the end of the day, we became such good friends. And it made me realize that life is a journey. And I don't think you can always just write people off when you think they don't agree with you, and that's okay. You just got to learn to mature and move forward. So have a great rest of your July. I look forward to seeing you in August, and I wish you all the best from the BC Métis Federation, our board staff, and our partner communities. Have a good night, everyone.